welcome to another episode of the Give My Head podcast. We are absolutely delighted to say, ladies and gentlemen, we have our friends from Phoenix Energy are sponsoring this particular episode. Thank you very, very, very much to Phoenix Energy. Phoenix Energy, as you know, own and operate the gas distribution network from Larne to Newcastle. William Thompson, you're a man who looks like you like a bit of gas.
Yes.
Guess how long the entire Phoenix gas network is in total? I'll give you a hint. Do you think it is more or less than 2,500 kilometres long?
Has to be less. There's no way it's more.
What?
No way.
Oh, William. 0 out of 1, my friend. Phoenix Energy. It is 4,000 kilometres long. Hang on. Whoa. The Phoenix owns the gas network from Larne to Newcastle, but it's 4,000 kilometres long.
Yeah. And what?
No, it's not 4,000 kilometres from Larne to Newcastle.
Yeah, but it's going all over the place, Tim, like ziggy stuff. It's all going all over. It's not like it's crisscrossing.
That's from Larne to Keith. That is right.
And you know, Phoenix has been around since 1996.
Oh,
Right.
that's
What
as
were
long.
you doing in 1996? You getting born? Or
I was just being born at the end of it, so they may be older than me.
What are you doing?
28.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Yes, sorry, I forgot about that. Phoenix has 256,601 homes connected to their network. Can you guess, William, how many customers do you reckon Phoenix connect every week? Now, you see, Phoenix are brilliant and I love Phoenix, but they've said, do Phoenix connect more than or less than 100 customers? Now, what's wrong with that question? No. More, that's wrong. It shouldn't be more than or less than, it should be fewer than.
Yes.
Less is amounts, fewer is numbers.
You know your
Don't even
grammar.
answer that question.
anyway, you know what he means.
Oh, I got wrong. I'd say is it fewer than 100?
It's not. It's more than 100. It's 200.
0 for 2
customers every week. Listen, massive thanks to our friends at Phoenix Energy. For more information on Phoenix Energy and their work on energy, and you can transition to Phoenix Energy. It's really, really good. Genuinely, go to their website, phoenixenergyni.com, or follow them on social media, Phoenix Energy NI. Look out for them. Ladies and gentlemen, as you've probably guessed by now, we have a very young man in the studio. A man you will know, one of the finest up-and-coming comedians. Up-and-coming? You're not even up-and-coming.
I've been up and coming for about 5 years.
But you have come. If I can put it that way. You have upped and you have
I've upped
came,
and come.
and you have came.
We'll set this one out. You're on your own there. Let you go.
I've been on this 2 minutes and it's filth and it's not even my fault.
We've had politicians and nice people and sensible conversations, but we're delighted to have William Thompson, ladies and gentlemen. Give that, William. We are here in 1L Studios, where I think you have a camper bed somewhere. You are never out of this fucking place, are you?
Yeah, I think I do about one of these a day. I'm so used to doing them.
Do you remember? I did a thing for you. I did a roast for your birthday.
You did.
And I accused you of spending a lot of time up somebody's back passage, namely Shane Todd's.
Up Shane Todd's arse, I do believe,
was
yes.
that the exact expression? Because
Yes.
you're never off his fucking podcast.
No. You're not wrong. It's 100% right. Yeah, because Tim did my roast, and I feel it was a case of letting the genie out of the bottle, because he has not said one. Before he did the roast, loveliest man ever.
Oh, yeah.
Ever since I've seen him, has not left me alone.
That's him.
Vicious wee man.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? I've never done anything like that roast, and it was genuine. I mean, I knew some of the people on stage. There were about a dozen comedians on stage, and the comedy world has just completely changed, because genuinely there were about 6 people on stage, and I go, who the monk are they? And but there's some of them are doing very well. Some of them have big careers. I mean, the comedy scene has just gone from to up there. And you benefited from. How long have you been doing it? You're only 29. How long have you been doing it?
20. I'm 28, Tim.
28.
And I started when I was 17.
Right.
So November this year will be 11 years in.
My God.
You started when you were 17. That's
17.
Kevin Bridges did that as well, and he started about that age.
He did, yes, and we've had similar levels of success. Yeah, he started, he was 17.
Right.
So
how did I go down to school? If you're sitting in school and you're sitting being a comedian in your classroom, and they're going say something funny or what?
no, it's stop. You're not funny. Stop trying to be funny. Will you fuck up? Everyone thinks they're funny at that age and in general, but especially at that age.
Yeah.
And also stand-up, it arguably never is, but it was certainly not a cool thing to do. So you told someone you're doing stand-up, and they're like, why would you do that? That's weird.
But it's a profession now, is it not? I
Yeah.
mean, you can decide you want to be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, or a comedian.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of the four now, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's joined the top three.
We're like spiders in Australia. You're never more than 2 meters away
Yeah.
from a comedian now.
You throw a stone, you'll hit a comedian, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are, I mean, there's a lot of them are very good. I mean, there's all sorts of clubs now. Where was I last Friday? Madden's.
Madden's.
Madden's
Yes.
is about the size of this room. The stage is half the size of this table. I literally move one step and you're off stage. But I mean,
Yeah.
there's Madden's. I mean, and that's in Belfast. There's dozens everywhere you go down
Yeah.
the country. Was one. What's the one they're trying to get me to do in Strip-On? And they told me it's about 40-seater.
The Boiler Room?
The Boiler
Do
Room.
it.
Somebody told me that. Yes. Boiler Room.
Phenomenal gig.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. You will come off feeling like Dave Chappelle. It is the best gig. It's so good.
Right.
You should do it.
Is that because Strabon people just appreciate comedy? Or?
I think so. I think, and also they're loud. So when they laugh, and when they don't, that silence is loud. But it's a brilliant gig.
Right.
And I find the best gigs are just little tightly packed in sweat boxes,
Right.
which is unpleasant to sit in, but it also just makes for a great atmosphere.
Yeah, well, that one in Madden's was very small. It's lovely
Yeah.
wee spot. But you started then at 17, and you did. Who were your influences at those times? Who made you go, I'm funny, or I want to do comedy, or what?
Genuinely, I think the first comedy show I ever would have seen would have been Give My Headpiece.
Really?
Right.
Well, yeah, it was huge, and my parents would have watched it, so it was the show that was like, you can stay up late and you can watch this.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I'd be about 3 or 4, and it would be on, and I wouldn't get a lot of it, but we'd get some of it, and like, obviously coming from a Protestant background, you knew a million Uncle Andys. Do you know what I mean?
You mean he's real?
Yeah. It took me until I was about 12 to be like, oh, he's meant to be funny. I thought he was just a very serious character. So yeah, you guys would have been the first ones to go, oh, you can be from here and do
Yes,
this.
yeah,
So
like-
you guys, I'm not normally nervous on a podcast, but
Really?
this is a big moment for me.
All right.
But don't be nervous. It's all right. It's
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
We love each other. It's all right.
I'm more nervous now. So yeah, you guys definitely would be up there. Again, big Peter Kay fan as a kid.
Right.
Kevin Bridges was a big fan of. And then as I got older, it would have moved to like more American influences, like Louis C.K. and people
Not
like
to
that.
talk about him now. Already.
No, we're not. We're not.
He's still been cancelled, hasn't he?
Wait, like he'll never be on TV again,
Yeah.
but he will forever
Yeah.
do theaters.
He was a brilliant comedian, but yeah, was doing awful things backstage.
Very weird, gross stuff,
Yes.
but funny.
But a very, very funny man. in
Yes,
his day,
yes.
But yeah.
And then people like Shane and Colin as
Yeah.
well. When I was a teenager, they were like the up and coming guys, so I was a huge fan of them.
Right. Because, I mean, we've kind of slightly bored our audiences with this before, but the trajectory that we had was theatre and then radio and then television. You guys don't need television. You know, nobody. I mean, I'm not saying you would reject it. I'm not saying you would, but you don't need it. I mean, you're probably getting bigger audiences for podcasts than you would do for TV shows.
Yeah, it used to be like as a stand-up, you'd want to be on Live at the Apollo. If you did Live at the Apollo, you did a Smash in 15, you're doing a worldwide tour. You could smash the Live at the Apollo now, and no one knows you did
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
the money for things on TV have only, like, as inflation goes up, that money's going down. So the enticement isn't really there to do it.
Right.
And it's a lot stricter on, like on a podcast, I can...
Can't say
Yeah,
this,
say
you
what you
can't
want,
say
you can
that.
say
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, and I don't like being that guy being like, you can't say anything anymore, because you can.
Yeah.
But on TV, you can't because they just won't put it out. But on a podcast, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more fun. You're not as constrained.
Right. So when you watched Give My Headpiece and then you decided to become a comedian, you thought, I know Northern Ireland politics, so that I'll go for the cerebral palsy, bisexual, orphan
Absolutely,
audience.
yeah.
That's my audience.
Yeah.
Bisexual, cerebral palsy, or and that's basically your act.
I use one side of
the guys. They've done no research. They haven't even fucking seen you. I've seen you loads of times. I like your stuff. I watch your stuff.
Yeah, the cerebral palsy bisexual angle is a unique one.
But
I can use one side of my body,
working,
but
though.
both
It's
sides
working.
of sexuality.
It is working though.
Yeah, the cerebral palsy thing I really leaned into.
Yeah, but
Again, huge influence from you, Tim. I was like, well, he's done one joke for 30 years. Let me do that.
no. Catholics are different from Protestants, so did you not know? Oh, I'm disabled? Yeah.
I love how you made the disabled one gay when you did the impression.
Did I do a Trump there?
Disabled. No, I'm disabled. Oh no. I did though. Like, it would be one thing if I could go back. I wouldn't lean on it as much, but I got advice sort of when I was younger from someone who worked on TV, and this was when TV was doing the we need a disabled we need an Asian comic, and they were like, we'll just be that.
Yeah.
And then the more as time goes on, it's like you kind of box yourself in by doing that. So I'm trying to do less of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it makes you different, but if you do it too much, you're so different that no one else can.
That defines you.
And no one can relate to you then.
Yeah.
Apart from other people with cerebral palsy, which is a niche market.
Pretty
That Rosie Jones has cornered off. Trust me, I know.
As disabilities go, what is it like? I mean, to live with? Is it tough to live with? No, genuinely.
I don't know.
Is it tough to...
I don't know what it's like to not.
Yeah, but...
If that makes sense.
No, that's he's laughing at me.
No, he's laughing. I sounded like I was being sarcastic.
Yes, I know it did, but I'm asking a serious question. I mean, as a person who doesn't have that sort of disability kind of...
Yeah, you don't know what it's like.
Want me to cut your leg off? You know what it's like to have one leg?
Well, no, yeah. I would be very good at wheelchair basketball. Genuinely, I've long reach.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just need to do that. You don't know what it's like to not have it.
Right.
So the things I had growing up, I was constantly in speech therapy, physiotherapy, occupational therapy. You were constantly on medications. You had to do little things. You had to do extra things in school. You just don't know what it's like to not have to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The thing that annoys me is no one believes I'm from a council estate because of how I talk.
Right.
Because I had to do speech therapy for so many years.
Oh, right, okay.
So now when Yes!
Yeah.
Do you know,
Were you from a region in your...
I grew up in Tullycarnet, but also lived in D Street, lived in Craigie for a bit, lived in Mersey Street for a while.
Proper East Belfast?
Yeah. Everywhere around East.
Right.
I think I used to live in D Street, got expelled from D Street Nursery.
You got expelled from a nursery?
From D Street Nursery.
Whoa.
And there's kids walking in picking up their kids. Do you know what I mean? It's a rough place. D Street Nursery
They have their own UDA brigade, don't they?
It's 5 seconds from the welders. It's a rough nursery. I got expelled from
Did you? What did you get expelled for?
So apparently I had bad temper problems as a kid.
Right.
And if someone wouldn't be my friend, I used to beat the shit out of them. And they'd be like, why won't you be my friend? Right. And then got expelled because I kept throwing chairs at teachers, which is frowned upon. Woke nonsense, I know.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got expelled from there.
So you were expelled from school, and you've had quite a colourful life, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for a young man. I didn't get to see Scumbag Millionaire, but I heard lovely things about it. And,
yes.
This is, you came into a lot of money.
Yes, now there's certain
as a
things.
young man.
There's certain things I can't say about the show for legal reasons and naming people. I essentially got an inheritance when my mum passed away when I was 18.
Right.
And my dad wasn't in the picture either. He'd left before then. So you're 18 by yourself essentially, and someone gives you 50 grand.
Right.
There's only one way that's going. And it's not
Index tracking.
It's not the stock market. No.
What? No.
Do you know what I mean?
No? You didn't put it in your pension.
No,
Government
I did not.
bonds, gilts.
No. No. Pastor Begbie would have been a big fan of mine.
Right, okay.
With what I did with that money, put it that way.
Right, okay. Bolivian marching powder?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get through the sort of level of money?
A year.
A year?
A year or two.
You're 18?
18, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not going to university then, are you?
Oh, I was doing university. I was in uni at that time.
Oh, right. What
Doing,
uni were you in? Ulster Uni, obviously, because you didn't have to. You can just take drugs and study or anything, or earn a degree or anything.
Yeah, it was politics. I was like, this is part of it. Like, this is how I get in. So I went and did politics with criminology minor.
Oh wow!
While also going out of my mind.
Criminology.
Yeah.
That was very relevant, isn't it?
Yeah. I did it because I'd watched, have you ever seen a show called Criminal Minds?
Yeah.
Which is all about criminologists and profiling serial killers. And I naively thought, we're going to be studying John Wayne Gacy. We'll find out, go into the minds of these really sadistic, brutal people. And instead, you were just finding out and being like, well, this is why this person gets 7 years and this person gets 9.
Yeah.
It was very boring.
Was there not a lot of theoretical stuff? We did criminology.
We did.
He was the guy, John Morrison, taught us
Yeah.
criminology. It's all about theories and
Foucault and all.
Foucault, and there was theories of alienation and stuff like that. And
Robert K. Merton.
What?
Robert K. Merton.
Robert K. Merton. Yeah.
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 Anime.
Anime.
Anime. Yes. Yeah, no, yeah. Why people are alienated from society. Yeah. Best the joke about criminology. Head of the Spanish Communist Party.
Yeah.
Had his car stolen. And he was asked by a journalist what he would say to the person who stole his car. And he said, well, I would say to that person, what you've done is a proto-revolutionary act because you are a victim in an unjust, unequal society. And you have basically reacted to that unequal and unjust society. And you've taken a car and you've driven it away. And then he paused and said, and then it's headbutt the bastard. Which is exactly the route you should take the crime. Fucking Steve Meister. I know you're doing it, but leave my fucking stuff alone.
Property is theft. Accept
Property
that.
is theft, but we're going to leave mine alone. So you basically blew, was it 50 grand? Was it?
Yeah. Around that, or I changed the amount every time I do the show because I'm not letting people really know.
Just go, What'd you do?
Yeah, kind of just had to like go back to my grandparents, and they were like, "And how are your savings doing?" And I was like, "Oh, fucking Bernie Madoff, bad."
Oh, stock market's come down.
It was kind of embarrassing, but you had to just tell people, like, yeah, I kind of messed up bad.
Right.
50k.
I'll get a show out of this eventually.
Yeah. In 10 years' time, I'll do a show about this, which was weirdly my favorite show I've ever done.
Yeah.
And then. Yeah, it's probably my favourite one I've ever
Is that
done.
because it was rooted and there's truth to it? Obviously, you exaggerate and embellish and, well, maybe you don't embellish. You just tell the truth.
I think I tone things down a lot in it, but it's not ridiculous. People are like, "Oh, that's crazy. That must be made up." But I'm like, I've left out a lot of details there. I think it's just because it was different to anything I'd done.
Yeah.
There was bits of it that were quite surreal and like absurdist humor and stuff. It was just a different kind of show to what I feel everyone was kind of doing.
Right.
So
Are you
I
doing
just
again,
enjoyed it.
or can you tell us about it? You'll bring it back, will you?
I have to do 3 more in the UK,
Right.
and then it's done.
Right.
But there was just weird bits about going to therapy, and one of my favorite routines I do, and it's a weird routine, and it does not work a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I like it, so I keep doing it.
Right.
It's about going to a therapist after I'd blown all my money, but I'd spent all the money, so I had to go to a therapist that was £8 an hour.
Oh, they're the best type, I find.
And
£8.
His office was in the Holy Lands in Belfast. This is entirely true.
Okay.
And he was on like the 2nd floor, and there was like a loaded gas students. Oh no, not gas students, but like culchies and galtops living below him.
Right.
And I had to like talk about childhood trauma while you could just hear like the wolf tones blurring below me. And the routine is this really weird routine. I talk about missing my mum, and he was like, "Well, you could, if you pay attention to your dreams, you can still talk to your loved ones in your dreams. £8 an hour." And I'm like, "You can do that, but you're still dreaming. So other things may come into your mind." And I have this long dialogue with my mum. And I apologise to her, and then she turns around to speak to me. But as she turns to speak to me, Yoda appears.
Right.
And asks me if I'll play five-a-side with him. And the routine devolves into me complaining about how bad Yoda is to play five-a-side with. It's a weird show. I like it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's important, but if you're enjoying it, that's,
Yeah. I've done that routine to people who very much are not enjoying it. I don't
You don't
give
care?
a fuck.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
We've jokes that we do and I go that don't get a laugh.
Yeah.
And I go, I don't care, I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah, because there's ones you're like, I did ones I hate doing because you people like them. I'm doing one I really enjoy.
We have a joke on our stage show that about Kneecap, and I go, Kneecap, they have single-handedly brought the balaclava into disrepute. It never gets a laugh, I don't care. I brought the balaclava into disrepute. And I go, never gets a laugh. Fuck it, it's the funniest line in the show. You recently had something on Channel 4, didn't you? You had a one-off. You made it. in Channel
Recently?
4. Well, it's a couple of years ago.
About 3 or 4 years ago
Is it
now.
3 or 4? See, we're in our 60s, my friend. That's the day before yesterday. 3 or 4 years ago. I know you young people are all around the world and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I did add up here. I was like,
William of Orangedale, which
Yeah.
is a Channel 4. Channel 4 were paying for this.
Channel 4 Blop, so that's they make several pilots.
Oh, yes, you know that, yeah.
They'll make 6 or 7 and then go, oh, we'll make none of these. Thank you for your time. But there was a period where it was looking like, okay, we're going to get a show made. And it was off the back of Dairy Girls doing so well. So
okay.
eyes were kind of on Northern Ireland to be
Right.
like, what's the next sort of show? I think maybe this mistake was made. We kind of made it too close in the vein of Dairy Girls.
Right.
Not my choice. But it was made very close in that vein.
Whoa.
But you know what's like with TV? You don't...
Yeah.
They see your face on it, you go, why'd he decide to do that?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not making audio mixing decisions.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just in it.
Yeah.
But
Did you
yeah,
write it? Or
me and Dave Elliott wrote it.
no, Mr. Elliott? Well, yeah.
Yes. So we wrote it. And the weird thing I found with it was some people just got really angry that it featured a bonfire.
Yeah. Really?
Some people were very, very angry that, like,
What do you mean?
What way?
GAA people in
I don't.
Holy Lands, or-
There's people on YouTube, so kids, fat losers, right? We're
Don't hold back.
no worries, fucking nerds. We're being like, oh,
Was this
trying-
sectarian shit or just, oh, this is bad for Northern Ireland?
yeah,
or
kind of
this
like,
is-
oh,
yeah.
trying to make loyalism cool, and then they're writing in some language I can't understand. They're like, whatever. But they were angry. They was like, they're having bonfires and stuff. This is disgusting. This is sectarian. And that was kind of my first experience of, because I grew up in that,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
don't. You don't really think that this really irritates some
Yes,
people
I'm not
for
trying
that
to-
to be there. I'm just trying to tell you a story of a thing that happened to me.
Right.
But the imagery did offend some
Yeah.
people, which was strange.
Well, I was pretty angry about it as well.
Yeah.
Didn't get an invite to be on a part of it at all.
Yeah,
Not even
yeah.
asked. Not even asked. I mean, it would be nice to be. I would have turned it down, obviously, but it would have been nice to be asked.
But surely that you
Sat top of the bonfire.
surely you guys have had that, especially when you guys started with what you were doing. It was very cutting
But
edge.
yeah, no, I mean,
ballsy what you guys were
made
doing.
lots of efforts to try and make it in the mainland.
Yes.
And you do, well, Give My Headpiece is very specifically made for Northern Ireland, by BBC Northern Ireland, for Northern Ireland audience. You know, it's
Yeah.
about Northern Ireland, it's about local politics, so we know it's not going to travel. But we had several attempts, radio and television over in the network, and they always say to us, okay, you're brilliant, you're Irish, and all, give us something Irish. And then you give them something Irish, and they go, don't really understand that. It's a bit Irish, and you know, give us something different and new and fresh, and you give them something else completely, and they go, that's not Irish. That's just could be anybody could give you that. Would you fucking told us to give you that? You know?
We had that exact thing when we were making the show. They were like, make it Dairy Girls meets In-Betweeners. If you can give us that sweet spot of Dairy Girls meets In-Betweeners, you have a show. Gets knocked back. Why? It's like Dairy Girls meets In-Betweeners. You asked me specifically for that.
Been there.
I'm afraid it's not going to change.
Yeah, we have worn that T-shirt.
Because that's when you make TV, especially at the start, you've never done it. You're like, these people must know what they're doing.
No.
And then they know. And then by the end, you're like, no one
They're
has
there
a
because they
clue.
don't know what they're doing.
So yeah, don't take it personally, William. So that's, I mean, that's
That's a lesson
Yeah.
I've learned is like,
No,
don't get your
seriously.
feelings hurt and just go, all right.
It's about time and it's about luck and it's about
Yeah.
all sorts of things. Now, having said that, the genius does. I admire Lisa McKee. The Dairy Girls is fucking brilliant. There's
Outstanding.
No doubt, outstanding piece of work.
And those girls are lovely as well, all the ones in it.
They're
They're
on, yeah.
so
Carol
nice.
and they're all fabulous. Probably, I mean, there was probably a bit of luck to it, but I mean, the fact that it's a work of genius.
Yeah.
But you will find that
I think it was
people in England don't get us, don't really understand us, don't really.
Not really. Not really. Like, it's what I was doing a gig in Birmingham last week, which if you've never been to the airport, never go. Walk to where you're going.
It's a shit airport.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. But I was getting the train there, right? And this is the difference I've found between English people and sort of people here. The trains were packed and everyone kept pushing on and not letting people get off. And people were just letting this build and let it build until they all just started screaming at each other. But it went from not speaking to screaming. And that's when I realised, like, English people will not immediately go, wise up. get on. They'll just let it build and build and build, then lose their temper.
Right, yeah.
Whereas if that was here,
Give it
you'd
a-
get it, mate. Fuck off. Wise up. Whereas in England, they don't. They just have like an annoyed look and
goodness sake,
push it down
internally.
and repress it. Yeah, they don't
This
have
is
that.
really outrageous.
Yeah,
And then they'll go.
yeah. There's times I've been on holiday drinking, and you see an English guy being like, "Oh, Dolly, what's going on?" Annoying everybody, just being loud. And you're like, "Has no one ever told you to fuck off?" And then you're like, "Oh, no one has." Whereas here, the minute you're above room volume, someone's
Yeah.
like, "Will you fucking tone it down?"
Would you do lots of gigs over there? Do you have any problem with the accent or anything like that? Or are you very
He's very
polite?
posh.
Very
Very
posh.
posh.
East
Yeah.
Belfast accent.
Very enunciated.
Do you do anything about Northern Ireland, or does that play at all, or do they not give a flying?
I do one joke about Northern Ireland, and that's it. And it's the ISIS girl. It's a very old joke I had of the Shamima Begum.
Oh yes.
So old, such an old joke. I don't do it here anymore. It's so old. It's one of the first jokes I wrote, but it's written. I don't know. But it's all about English people not understanding here, and would we accept a terrorist? Like, she's a terrorist and wants to come back into the country. Would you accept that? And I'm like, well, if she was here, she'd get fucking elected. Very, very classic style of joke. But that's the only
Write
one
that
I
down.
do.
We might use that one.
She was here to be an assembly member.
So that's the only one I
Right.
do.
But you and Shane and Virgil, you can go over there and just be a normal comedian. And I don't mean that just do your stuff and nobody cares.
100%. It's a question that it shouldn't bother me because people are not asking it out of malice.
Yeah.
But I hate when people go, "What are you talking about over there?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm certainly not going to talk about the Castlereagh Spar.
Yeah.
I do have thoughts as a human.
Yeah.
They're all dirty jokes. That's all I talk about. But,
yeah.
I do have other things. But people seem surprised, like, that's not all you
Yeah.
can do. It's like, well, I went to see you up in Ravenhill Rugby Club, and a lot of your stuff was local. I'm like, because we're fucking in Ravenhill. I'm not going to break down, like, the global politics in front of a drunk football team. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm playing to where I am. So, yeah, I kind of like going over to England.
Yeah.
Because over there, not as many people know who you are, but you've still been doing stand-up 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's that good thing of you are good at stand-up, but no one knows who you are. So they're kind of being like, who's this guy? And then by the end, they're like, where have you been?
Yeah.
I love that. Once people know who you are, there's an expectation to it, which gives you a bit more leeway, but also a bit more of expectation, makes it harder.
Yeah.
When no one is expecting you to be good and you end up being good, it's so fun.
Well, I told you that time, William very kindly did a gig for me that I had to pull out of, a gig for Cliftonville Football Club, a lunch.
And you pulled out of it?
A COVID thing. I got COVID and I rang William and he very kindly did it. And then after the match, I met loads and loads of Cliftonville fans going, he was fucking brilliant. He was brilliant. I've done it dozens of times. He was brilliant. Oh, fuck, he was class. Get him back. What's his name? And I said, Shane Todd. No, you did a brilliant gig. Did you enjoy that?
I love that gig. That was very fun. That was
What jokes did you tell? Because I maybe do that next time for them.
I can't
Your
remember.
football jokes or East Belfast jokes?
I think a lot of East Belfast sort of jokes, maybe a Glentoran joke.
Funny ones.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going wrong.
Yeah. I think I've filled in for you before and it hasn't went as well.
Is that right?
Were you meant to do a Limfield?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel this was like a planned hit.
Yes, I do Linfield gig. All you have to do is slag off Glentoran from the Linfield gig. They don't even care about Cliftonville and just slag off.
I did it, and David Healy was front row, who's my childhood hero.
Of course,
Right.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? From that campaign where they beat Spain 3-2, everyone had number 9 on the background. I still can't sing Away in a Manger without Healy.
Yeah.
In the middle of it.
Healy.
Yeah. First time he ever saw me gig, I died on my arse for 30 minutes in the Europa.
Oh.
I don't even mean titters, I mean da da da. Oh. And then he said that nothing.
No.
I think I did about 2 hours material in 20 minutes.
But was it in a hall when people were at tables and they were talking and that type of thing?
I don't even have that. I had their full undivided hatred. They did not interrupt me. They were so polite and unanimous in their disgust. They fucking hated me so much.
I think Sean Haggerty did the same thing. It was like, Sean told me recently he did something for Linfield, because I've done Linfield a couple of times.
Yeah.
And, Has Sean Haggerty the similar sort of experience?
So bad. That's the one as I'm drifting to sleep, I go, oh, Jesus, that happened.
If anybody from Linfield is watching, I'm available for next year. Cash only. Is it bad? You don't have bad gigs these days, do you?
Everyone has. You never not have bad gigs.
Do you?
You always have bad. Of course you have bad gigs.
Really?
Yeah.
Carlton doesn't, you think?
No,
you never have a bad
do you
gig,
really?
do
You
I have
still
just different criteria. I've seen him. He does.
a titter.
How do you define bad? That's true.
Just stop throwing things.
I remember.
Out of stuff.
I remember doing warm up for the waterfront.
Right.
That BBC thing.
Oh
we
yes,
did.
yes. The Christine Blakely and all of that. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
who
yeah.
he is. I had never met before. The loveliest
Oh.
woman
No, she's dead on.
in the world.
Yeah.
So nice. But warm up can be hard, especially if they're not there for a comedy show.
Yeah.
And the first few times I went out, they were not enjoying it. And everyone else, I came backstage, Christine's like, oh, you're doing a great job. Don't worry. Tim just came over to him and went, they're not exactly laughers, are they?
He builds you up that way.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's like, bastard.
I think the only definition of bad, surely, for a comedian is, do you really expect me to pay you after that? That would be bad.
Oh, I've never had that problem.
That would be bad.
I lose the posh accent if that ever happens. The East Belfast comes out there.
It did happen to be once at a gig that I did for down south. These people paid me more money than I normally get paid to entertain 50 lads from Leeds who were on a big corporate thing, but they really wanted Roy Chubby Brown, and they were very drunk and something similar to your Linfield gig.
Yes.
Yeah, it was sort of 30 minutes, and I just did my 30, and then they threatened not to pay me, but we've had a guy called Mr. David Hull.
Yes.
David Hull, very quietly spoken, but if you didn't pay David Hull, there would be a horse's head in your bed.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Corporates can be like that though. They're like, oh, it didn't really go down well. I'm like, oh, put me in between the karaoke and a raffle.
That's right.
That shocks you that wasn't the best show.
That's
Money
right.
in my hand.
That's
dickhead.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Or introduce me after you've talked about the Crohn's disease for 15 minutes, which I've had once. I'm living with Crohn's disease.
That's why you had shame. Shit, don't have shame for warm up then. That's why.
That's right, Jane. The Jill literally had with this woman talked about Crohn's disease for 15 minutes and how terrible it was, and then picked up a bit of paper and said, "Oh, I think it's the comedian now," and that was my introduction. To it.
I had something like that. It was like a fundraiser for like hospital bills for someone whose son nearly died on holiday, and the mum came up, did a big speech about nearly losing her baby, and hit him with a full. I'm not religious, but there's someone up there looking after him, and everyone's in tears at this mother recounting nearly losing her son, and then and now William Thompson, and I'm like, hey guys, did you ever go on Snapchat then? Awful, like.
You were telling me down the stairs there, you had a wee job. You're an actor now, darling.
I literally cannot
Oh,
say.
you can't tell?
Well, like,
Well, your agent was boasting about it online.
I can't say what it was.
All right,
this
you
is
can't
just
say
me
what it
being
was.
like,
All right,
I signed an NDA for a
Okay,
reason.
well, we'll not mention the new
Yeah.
Bond.
Yeah.
It's a diversity hire, I'll be honest with you. but it's a bold move.
Yeah.
It's a bold move by the Bond franchise, but
Yeah.
we can't say any
Yeah.
more about it.
I'm playing Odd
That's
Job.
all we're saying. Are you still doing Mudblood with Paddy?
I am indeed, yes.
Yeah, that's one
still-
of another huge podcast when you're not here with Shane Todd, you're
Yeah.
down with Paddy McDonald. Do you get a grant for that, cross-community grant for that? I mean,
Shockingly
is
not.
It West meets East. And
Shockingly
all that?
not, 'cause
Paddy,
neither
we
of
had
us-
Paddy in here.
Yes.
He was very average, which is good for him. Only slagging, we'll have
He'll take that out on me. He'll hit me when I do the podcast. Tim was saying this. No, we don't get cross community. We don't get a grant, sadly, because I don't think either of us are clever enough to do the paperwork. But we've been doing that for like 4 or 5 years. It's weird.
And you do that once a week, and I've still got
We
once
do 2 hours
every-
once a week.
Wow.
For about 3-4 years.
Right.
Which you guys have been together
I know we've only been-
35 years.
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
Oh God!
I believe you first went to the Edinburgh Festival in 1992. Not that I know.
Yeah, fucking 40.
No, I
It was
don't.
actually 1988.
What?
The first time I went to the Edinburgh Festival.
1980? I thought it was 1992. 1988.
1988. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We were there
was a
with
disaster.
what?
It was a disaster.
Oh, it's
That's the
disaster.
fringe,
no,
darling,
thinking
it's
awful.
terrible.
Oh yeah. The
We're-
worst review ever.
Yeah.
What was
So
it? What was
well,
the
I
review?
obviously I don't remember, but the Hole in the Wall gang started well with an interesting tableau about a tortured peasant. ... Then the torture turned to the audience. As the Hole in the Wall gang went through a series of sketches which seemed to take forever to set up, ... and weren't very funny anyway. And then after that, it got slightly worse.
Scored.
It's the fact that you can remember all that.
Do you remember that?
You couldn't quote it verbatim. Like.
Well, yeah, I could quote it. No, it was the kick up the arse we needed because there was about a dozen of us in the cast and we were all drinking and having a laugh. And
Yes.
it was stupid and we were kind of, it was a drunken student show that we took over for a laugh.
Yeah.
And then we went, all right, this is a bit embarrassing.
This is when the fringe was kind of a bit
Yeah.
artsy and
Oh, it was
fringy.
like, it was like £2 a ticket.
the Pleasance.
Yeah,
We were in
yeah.
the Pleasance. The Pleasance had 3 venues. Have you been to the Pleasance last year? There's about 183 venues.
Yes, I was in
Pleasance.
the Dome
It had
2 years
the main room. It had the cabaret and the tent. We were in the tent.
Yes.
There were 3 venues in the Pleasance Theatre
Yeah.
in 1988.
And it was about £3 or £4 in. Most
Yeah.
shows. Most shows.
And
That's what it absolutely should be.
I know.
I know.
Now look at it. I mean, it's crazy.
I-
You can't even afford to stay in it.
My show last year was £14 in.
Right?
Do you know? And that's still on the cheaper side of
I'm
things.
sure it is, yeah.
And I still make
Zero.
call from it.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
I mean, we went a few times.
Yeah.
But I think, we got better.
Yeah.
You know, the last time we went was early 90s, but remember we sold out.
Yeah.
We sold out
Practically
a
every
2-week
day.
run.
Yeah, and still didn't make any money.
Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah.
It was just because they came to you. They came and says, "Oh, you've sold out. Oh, that means you have to pay us more."
Yeah. Yeah. The budget varies day to day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very annoying.
So what's the ambition, William? Where do you see yourself 5-10 years? You want to do this forever to your 50s, 60s? You
Guys,
want to
turn
do
in the
this?
job interview awful fast.
No, seriously though, because we're kind of reaching the end of our careers and but I still think I would, do a bit of stand up even if I didn't have to.
I definitely want to branch out into the UK more because I love here. I don't. I love here, but I kind of am like, what more is there to do? Like you've done most of the bigger rooms, and
Yeah.
obviously it'd be good for it to be my show.
Yeah.
But I'm like I kind of want to go abroad, the UK, maybe Australia, get a bit of life experience.
What about America? Would you not like to
Would love America.
do warm up for Trump or something?
Yeah.
Like that?
Oh, absolute. You're never saying anything funnier than he's saying. Do you know what I mean?
Hard to follow, I would think.
A big time. That is a personal hate of mine that comedians are sort of embracing him at the minute
Yeah.
in America.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
Everybody's kind of seeing which way the wind blows.
Comedy's
'cause-
fucking anti-establishment. That's what you're meant to be.
Yeah.
You can't be a comedian and then be like, "And this, I love the president." Shouldn't be doing that. I don't know. I just get better at stand-up,
Yeah.
improve a bit. I really don't know. I've never been a here's my 10-year plan guy. I've always been I want to make this joke work, and that's my focus for the
And
next
you
week.
sit down and write, or do you just gig and go, that went well, I remember that bit, or do you...
Bit of column
you write
A.
your show, you're writing Scumbag Millionaire,
Yeah.
you sit at a
I will.
laptop and write 5,000 words or 10,000 words or whatever.
So the process, Tim,
The process, because people are interested in the process. They ask us all the time, and we just sit around and faff around and then go, fuck, we better write something.
Oh yeah, I get all that. Do you just go up your stage?
Oh yeah. How does that come off the top of your head? Because it's
You're
written
not
down and I
wise.
learnt it.
You're not wise at all. You get nothing doing that. If I sit down and script out longhand, especially like when I write, it comes out more intelligent than how I actually speak.
Yeah.
I did English A level, so you kind of learn to, there's a bollocks word for this that is way more impressive. So when I script it out longhand, it doesn't sound natural. It doesn't sound like something I would say. So what I've learned to do, and this is Colin Murphy uses this pretty much exact same method. Premise it the top of the page,
Yeah.
8 punchlines,
Yeah.
and I know how, and I'll just get on stage with those punchlines in my head,
Yeah.
and I will talk my way to them. So that way the setup, to me, sounds natural,
Yep.
and then I have the punchlines. So then I'll do that, go to some open mics like a Madden's or a Pavilion, Black Box, do that set 4 or 5 times, listen to it back relentlessly, driving home, driving 2 gigs, just so I'm like, oh, I'm missing something there, or that didn't work that night, and then you listen to it back, you're like, oh, because I said that weird.
Yeah.
Record yourself, listen to yourself back. So
I did that for the first time. Somebody recorded. I did a stand-up show last year, and somebody recorded it and sent it to me. And it's
Yeah.
the best thing you can ever do is listen to yourself. Go, that's awful. You missed that.
don't realize the bad habits. You're like, why am I going? But why am I going?
You know.
Yeah, yeah. Why am I sniffing?
Yes.
Lots of coke.
Yeah. Can't believe Billy the Peeler just said that. But you just little habits you didn't know that you
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
and you watch yourself
I've an
back.
irritating laugh.
You do a thing as well. You
Doing
go
everything. Yeah, I know.
every time you make a joke, you go hang. But you do.
I know. I'm admitting to it, but thanks for
Me
telling
and
the
you
words.
have the similar habit of
Yeah.
an awkward laugh a bit.
Yeah,
Like after we speak, it's like I do too. I can't go like.
yeah. Sort of
I-
nervous, awkward laugh.
It's like an anxiety.
I
I'm
know.
like, it's silent, so I'll go, haha, is everyone all right? And I didn't realize I did it until I did podcasts. And they let you know you're doing it.
Yeah.
Just wee stupid fat bastard laughing all the time. Like, oh, sorry, I'll stop that. But yeah, so that's what I can't sit down, write out long form. It just doesn't sound natural.
Yeah.
So it's write down the premise, 8 punchlines. And I always thought that was a bad way to do it. I'm like, am I being lazy? Or like, you see people who can write it out, script it, and it's word perfect. And then some of my favorite comedians you speak to, and like, oh, that's how I do it. I'm like, okay, that's just the way
Yeah.
my brain works.
Yeah.
Because I know Murph does that, Mickey does it.
Yeah, well,
Great
Murph on the
fucking
Blame Game has a sort of mind map thing, which you're right, it's just punchline sort of thing. But
Yes.
then I've seen him start off on something, he clearly hasn't got a punchline for it.
Yes.
And waffles around it for a minute and a half and gets you a
thinks so.
Yeah.
and always gets you a punchline.
Yeah.
That's
But then you can also have people like Neil,
Yeah.
who is
lightning.
lightning relentless in his writing, like
Yeah.
just so much.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that,
So do I.
but I can't. I wish I was like, I had the ability to go, here's 20 brilliant jokes, instead of going, I'll think of something. We'll do it live on the night.
So you both wish you were Neil Dallenberg.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I wish I was as young as him. He wishes he was as good as him. Take it like that.
You both wish you had his bank account.
100%. Yeah.
I'd have it gone in a year anyway.
That's right.
No, his bank account would take you 2 years to get through. Slagging off Neil Dillon. William, thank you. We've run out of time, bizarrely.
wow,
yeah,
flew
yeah.
in.
So that absolutely flew in. William, we will have you back sometime.
Guys,
You're
thank you very much for
Thank
having
you
me.
for joining us. Thank you to our sponsor, Phoenix. I'm allowed to plug my show, aren't I? I have a show on the 27th of April. Ridiculous one-man solo show that I did last year. Coming back to the Lyric Theatre for a one-off on Sunday. That's the first time they've said that in about 20 years. You brought that out of them. I admitted it first, and then they. Fuck off. Give a head podcast, like, subscribe, and I'm going to go and work on my nervous tics. Thank you,
Don't blame
William
yourself,
Thompson.
baby.